So this is questions that buyers frequently ask that sellers frequently can't answer. I have a series of questions that we frequently get asked by potential buyers of businesses. And frequently, our clients or business sellers can't answer them. And it's actually really frustrating for me because when I know my clients and they are experts at their business, they can't answer what we think are simple questions in the 21st century, more customer focused. It's surprising. One of the most common questions I get from a buyer, and this typically relates to construction. We do a lot in construction. What is the average ticket? Now, the definition of the average ticket is what's the average project value that your customer pays for you? And so like if you're in a flooring business, and you're typically doing 1 or 2 rooms in a house, okay, your average ticket is probably $3,500 to $5,000. And then they say, well, Andy, that's really tough to answer because, we do some projects that are $3,000, we do some projects that are $400,000. Well, guess what? We have CRMs, we have all of these systems that track the projects. It's not hard to spend an hour to figure out, okay, percentage of our revenue came from projects less than $10,000. Percentage of revenue came from projects from $100,000 to $300,000. And it's that simple to come up with an answer that's sufficient. It didn't actually answer the question, what's your average ticket, but come up with something that somebody can agree and trust. Let's talk more about marketing. What are the average, most frequently asked questions when it relates to customers? It is your customer acquisition cost, CAC, average ticket, right? What is the lifetime value of a customer? This is interesting because this is really 21st century metrics. And when we talk about what's the lifetime value of a customer, people say, well, what is that, Andy? Well, the answer is, if you're a medical clinic or maybe a massage business, like what's the average retention, let's say 3 or 4 years, and on an average year, your customer is going to spend $2,500 with you. Okay, so on a 3-year basis, your customer's lifetime value is $7,500, right? 4 years, $10,000. These are metrics that buyers today want to know about your business. And if you don't know them, it's good to start thinking about it. Other questions that they ask, who's your largest customer? Okay, well, now we're talking about customer concentration. Customer concentration is risk for a buyer. It's not risk for you because you're making revenue off of it. But understanding your top 10 or 20 clients, how much revenue do they give you every single year based off of a percentage? If there's one customer that makes up more than 20% of your gross revenue, that's a deal killer for most buyers. And so that's something to really consider. I see a lot of businesses, in the industrial, commercial, and oil and gas side where 2 customers or one may make up 70 to 80% of the gross revenue. That's risk, and that's a hard buyer to find. That doesn't mean they're not out there, but knowing the answers to all of these will only make your life better, and it will only make a buyer trust you more.